Here we go. So my name is Macy. I am a program coordinator for Sandy Rec, and I am in charge of the 7th through 12th grade boys junior jazz. So good to virtually meet you all. So just a quick rundown. We are starting games the week of January 4th. So I will email out tomorrow all of your coaches packets. So that's rosters, schedule, COVID information, sportsmanship, do's and don'ts, yada, yada. You'll each get an email with your team's information and the league's information. And, but yeah, starts on January 4th. So just be sure to contact your players by the end of this weekend. If you don't contact them by Monday, that's kind of going to be the break of where we're saying, yeah, let's figure out who your coach is, and might start bugging you. So, concussion policy for Sandy Rec. If someone is suspected to have had a concussion, whether they have or they hadn't, they need a doctor's note of sign of release into the office. They cannot take it to the gym and to the site supervisor and play. They'll need to take it to the office in order to be cleared to play. As far as COVID goes, you guys and each player will get the Junior Jazz COVID Sandy Rec policy. So please be sure to read through that. We want to keep playing. We're excited to be able to play, but everyone's in it together. So we gotta work together to be able to do our best to keep playing. Just some quick highlights on it. There will be a verbal symptom check and a temperature check for each individual that comes into the gym. So at the door, they'll take your temperature and get a verbal symptom check before letting you through the door. With school district COVID restrictions, we are only allowed one adult per player in the gym. So that, so as they walk in and get their temperature check, they'll say, okay, like, do you have someone here with you? And they'll check off their name. So only one person per player. Masks are required for everyone. So coaches, scorekeepers, players, etc., unless the players are actively playing. So when they're on the bench, they do need to wear a mask. If they're actively playing, they do not need to wear a mask. And the same goes for referees. So when they're actively reffing in the game, they do not need to wear a mask. Any other time, they've got to wear a mask. If there's problem with masks, the game, people be given a reminder, but if there's a problem and people aren't willing to wear masks, the game will be forfeited and not made up. So just so everyone's on the same page. We're doing our best to play, and so we're following school district guidelines, governor guidelines, county guidelines, Sandy Rec guidelines. We're doing our best to get all the guidelines together so we can still make it happen. Sportsmanship. The number one reason kids play sports is because it's fun. And the number one reason kids quit sports is because it's no longer fun. So this is really important to remember for junior jazz, is that it's got to be keeping with that fun train of thought. And so we try to encourage that in positive ways, but if someone is being unsportsmanlike, there are technicals given for unsportsmanlike behavior. And you'll see those, some examples. It's not an exhaustive list, but you'll see some examples in some of the sportsmanship PDFs that you'll get emailed. But technicals can be given by the refs in games, but also site supervisors and workers. And they can be given to players, fans, coaches, etc. We just want to keep it as positive as possible, and recreation sports can totally be that. And so it's just a matter of maintaining that environment. And if someone or someone's actions are not contributing to that environment, then that's where the consequences come in. The coach is responsible for their entire sideline. So that means their themselves, their players, and their fans. So if someone's having a hard time staying calm, the refs or the site supervisor will likely talk to you and say, hey coach, like that person needs to calm down. And then, you know, they can kind of talk about it and go from there. But you as the coach will be the communication line that the refs will use. We do have adult refs for all of these leagues. And so we're excited about that. With the sportsmanship, there is a post-season sportsmanship tournament, and this is really fun. It's important to remember that what they paid for in registration is 7 season games. They did not pay for the tournament. So in order to be invited to the tournament, and the keywords invited, is that they have an average sportsmanship score of a 3.0 for the season. And this means that basically after each game, the officials and the site supervisor come together and they'll give your team a score. It's the team as a whole, it's not an individual. And so if there are individuals who get technicals or whatnot, that will definitely affect the score. But each game, each team will get a score, and then I keep track and go through and will keep an average. And so the teams that after the 7 games have an average of a 3.0 will be invited to a postseason sportsmanship tournament. And it's a single elimination tournament. Then we have a 9th and 10th Tuesday league and a 9th and 10th Thursday league, and same with 11th, 12th. There's a Tuesday league and a Thursday league. So those leagues will be combined for the tournament. And so you'll end up with a single elimination tournament with the best of those who had the best sportsmanship. Let me see. One technical to point out, or a couple technicals to point out. Swearing is a technical, and dunking is a technical, and so that's at any point in the night. So dunking in warm-ups or post-game, dunking during the game, swearing at any of those times is also a technical. So just be sure that your players are aware and ready for that, so that we can have a positive season, and there will be less confusion once we get to it. I'm going to pull up, let me find it. I'm going to find the sportsmanship rating. Well, actually you guys can see it when you get the packet. But so the rating that you'll get each night is on a scale of 0 to 4. 4 is perfect angels, great game, no sportsmanship issues, and then it goes down from there. Actually, let me find this. Sorry, one moment. Let's see if I can pull it up. If it's going to work on my computer. It's looking like no. Okay. Well, that's okay. I'll just let you know. So technicals for each player are cumulative throughout the season as far as consequences go. So the first technical someone receives, they have to sit 5 minutes of playing time. So if they receive a technical in the last minute of a game, they'll have to sit that minute and the first 4 minutes of the next game they attend. The second technical they receive in the season, so it could be in the same game, it could be 3 games later, but the second technical they receive in the season, they have to sit 16 minutes of playing time, which is an equivalent to a half. The third technical they receive in the season, so again, could be like game after game or first game and fourth game. But the third technical they receive, they'll be ejected from the current game and not allowed in the gym for the next playable game. And the fourth technical of the season, they'll be ejected for the season. So that is how it goes. Let's see. I think that's it on sportsmanship. If you guys have questions, feel free to add them to the chat or just wait till the end and we can do the Q&A. We had a huge response for our leagues, which is awesome. They're very full, which is very exciting. But it also means that we have tons of teams for not as much space in the gyms as we normally have. With school district restrictions, we're staggering game times. So one court will start at like 6 and the next court will start at 6:15 to be able to do all those temperature checks and not bottleneck and things like that. So please have your boys don't show up more than 15 minutes before game time, just because there will be a huge bottleneck at the door if that happens, and then we'll get behind on the night. So we've got buffers in between each game in order to do the proper cleaning, things like that. And because there's such a huge response, most of the games are on the day and location that the league you signed up for. There on your schedules, you will see there are a few games we had to fit games everywhere we could where the school district would let us. So we've got some games that might be at different locations or a different night, but the vast majority of your games will be at the location you had with on the day you picked for the league. So just a heads up on that. Jerseys, the Junior Jazz jerseys, and we've got masks, those Gator masks for the players and for the coach will be handed out at your first game. So you can have those there. Again, on the leagues are really full train. If you had boys who wanted to play but didn't make it in time, feel free to have them call into the office to get on a waiting list. And they'll be called if spots are available. And thank you for coaching. It's a weird year, and being able to play Junior Jazz is something normal and awesome. And we really appreciate you, because it wouldn't happen if there weren't coaches. So we always do this, but we've got a $5 thank you that will be credited to your account with us. So you can have that. But just in all sincerity, we're really excited to play, and we're glad that you guys are willing to coach in such a weird year so that we can have a little bit of normalcy and a little bit of fun. Let's see. I think that's it for me. Are there any questions?
Hey, Macy.
Yeah.
This is Jonas Elsmore. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. You just mentioned the concept of a waiting list for kids that maybe haven't signed up yet.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify. I actually called your offices yesterday because we have a couple of boys that we thought had signed up but hadn't. They said if I filled out the form and drove it to Sandy that we could still get them signed up. Is that still possible?
If they said that in the office, that is true. I
Okay.
would say just double check and call in. We've got 4 leagues represented in this meeting, so I don't have all the leagues memorized off the top of my head, but there are likely spots here and there. So just call in and make sure. But yeah, if they say you're good to go in the office, you're good to go in the office.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Macy, I've got a quick question. This is Tom Schroeder. And I think I actually just saw somebody submit this. And first of all, thanks for holding this call and thanks for getting this league going. Is there a practice schedule? I think someone texted that in, but will that be forthcoming? Are we going to get some? And then a second question is, with all this COVID testing needed to be done, do you need volunteers from parents? Would it be helpful if we were to ask parents to come in advance and help out with that testing?
So first question with the practice schedule, yes, thank you for the reminder. There are a couple extra practice times that you guys can book online. They will be available. I think they're actually available now online if you want to go through that, but you can get a link through that or to that in your email that I'll send out tomorrow with all the coach information. As far as the testing goes, I wish I could say yes because we could use some help, but the school district has us, we are only allowed a certain amount of people in the gym, and so we are at full capacity with where we're at with that. So just don't show up 15 minutes before. We're going to have the supervisors on it. If we need to adjust mid-season, we can. But for right now, that's what we're able to do.
Okay, and so to clarify, you said there are extra practice spots online. Does that mean that we should have already gone online and picked a spot? Because I didn't know that. Or
No.
okay.
I just meant outside of your schedule. So you've got your schedule coming to you with your 7 games. And Kevin's on, he put in the chat the link to be able to get those practices reserved if you would like to.
Okay.
When do we get the uniforms? Oh, sorry.
Everyone just gets one practice spot, correct?
You can sign up for practices. Kevin can correct me if I'm wrong, but you can sign up for one practice every 2 weeks so that there's hopefully enough space for everyone. But we don't schedule you a practice, so it's just, and you're free to call in to the office as well to reserve those practices, but they're online.
So I don't mean to take up too much time, but in the past we had like one night a week from 7 to 8 o'clock at a certain gym. That's not going to be how it's done this year.
No.
Okay.
No.
Right.
We've got limited gym space. And with the K through 8th graders, we schedule them a practice, but with the 9th through 12th graders, we don't schedule a specific practice. We found that it's better use of everyone's time if you guys just go in and reserve a practice if you would like, because not all the 9th through 12th teams care about having a practice.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, you'll receive an email with all that practice information tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, will we get the uniforms at the first game, or can we come to the office and pick them up early?
First game as of right now, because we're having limited people in the office through the holidays, and so we'll have them for you at your first game, just so we can make sure we get them all done.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Macy, in regards to the one person per player, does that include the coach per player?
Yes, unfortunately it does. So if you are the coach and also a parent of a child, you count as that parent. You count as that child's spectator.
So I had a question as far as the sign up of other players. I talked to the office today and they said that we're only allowed to have 9 players on a team. Is that correct?
That is correct. Again, with school district COVID restrictions, we're only allowed to have 9 per team, and then 1 spectator per player.
So Macy, it's me again. I don't want to split hairs, but I'm trying to anticipate questions that'll come from my parents. Is it possible that one parent could come in for the first half and leave, and another parent could come in for the second half?
I'm not sure. I will have to get back to you on that. But I'll write down that question and I can get back to you on that. But
Macy, I can address that.
oh, Kevin's got it.
My name's Kevin. I'm the recreation manager. In order for Junior Jazz to even be able to go into the schools, there's actually a 50-person requirement for the max per gymnasium. And so I had to do paperwork and show that we could manage having 2 courts going on at one time. And in order to do that, we still had to maintain the 6-foot distancing. And so it came down to about 40 people that we could have per court. So when both courts are going on, there's 80 people in the gym. And so we really can't go above that. But to answer the question about switching at halftime, we would prefer you don't, because that just adds more work for everybody that's involved. If you need to, based on for whatever reason, then talk to the site supervisor and we can work that out. But everybody needs to remember, if it becomes an issue where everyone's fighting us on this, we'll just have to shut down the season, and we don't want to do that. So hopefully that answers everybody's question. We're just, we have restrictions, we have to follow it, or we don't have Junior Jazz.
Thanks, Kevin. I saw another question in the chat. Yes, you will get emailed your coach's packet tomorrow. So that includes all the COVID guidelines, the schedule, the roster, everything. You'll get that tomorrow. Okay. Well, that pretty well covers it. I will stay on for the next few minutes if people still have questions that they would like to ask. But again, I'll send this Zoom recording out. I'll put it up on YouTube and send it out tomorrow with your coach's packet. But thank you so much for coaching. We're excited. Yeah, we'll get going in January. But feel free, anyone who has a question, feel free.
One last quick question, and again, thank you for putting this together. So it's notorious that when the jerseys get handed out, you got 3 6-footers with small jerseys, or 3 5-footers with extra large. Will there be backup jerseys at the games? I mean, is it just going to be, here's your 9 jerseys and make do? And it's not a big deal, but just ahead of time, it's nice to plan for that a little bit.
Yeah, so each set of jerseys you'll get of there's varying sizes. So please do not hand out the jerseys according to the numbers that the players want. Please hand them out according to their sizes, and that avoids a lot of the sizing issues. We will not have backup jerseys at the game if there's like you have a team full of 6-foot football players, then sure, there are some backup jerseys in the office, but they won't be at the games.
Yeah. So if there's a coach out there that's got a team full of 6-foot football players, I'd like to talk trades.
Scorekeepers, there's a question on scorekeepers. We are doing our best to hire scorekeepers this year, again, with the COVID restrictions, so we can only have one person at the table. So far, we do not have enough who have applied. So we are hiring for both site supervisors and for scorekeepers. If you know anyone who would be interested in scorekeeping, feel free to have them apply. I'll type in the chat that it's just sandy.utah.gov/jobs, and both the scorekeeper and the site supervisor would apply under the site supervisor. They'd apply under the site supervisor role.
So what's the age requirements? I mean, my daughter, I'm sure, might be interested in that, and she's done it before. Is there age requirements? She's 14.
So if she's interested in refereeing, we're also hiring referees. If anyone's interested, all the players, if they wanted to ref on a night they weren't playing or on Saturdays, we're hiring for referees as well. We start hiring at 14 years old in order to, with Utah laws, you've got to be 16, I believe, to work for us past 7:30. So 16 usually for the scorekeepers, especially during the week, but we can use scorekeepers that are 14 for the Saturdays. So yeah.
And just curious, what would you pay the kids for that?
It starts at $9 an hour
Okay.
for the refereeing.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Okay.
Yeah.
And if they're going to, some of my players might be interested in refereeing. Is there a clinic or something that prepares them for that?
Yeah, we've got some people who are who do trainings. So yeah, have them apply at sandy.utah.gov/jobs, and then we can get them going and help them get trained a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
And they'd be repping the younger ages. Again, we've got the adults refereeing the high school players.
Great. Thank you again, Macy and Kevin.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a quick question. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, hi. Thanks. Do we get the emails of our players so we can contact them?
Yeah.
You send that to us?
Yeah, so you'll get rosters and schedules and everything needed in your coach's packet tomorrow. Bear with me, though. I have to send each of you an individualized email, so it will take a minute for me to get them all out.
Okay, and that will have all our players' contact emails? Or
yes.
Emails or phone?
Both. You'll get emails and phone numbers.
What diggity. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a token coach for my son's team, but I'm happy to do it. So thanks for being there.
Oh, good. We're excited to have you, Barbara.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Macy. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Looks like it's just you and I.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I'll end the recording and then
Okay, good job.
thanks.